Right, okay, so this word depreciation, what we're going to do is explain actually what it means. It's something that you may have seen, may have heard of before. Super important for most businesses. It's quite a large cost in a lot of businesses. So we have a little definition here, and basically it really refers to things where assets are getting reduced in value. Now, they may get reduced because of wear and tear. They may get reduced because basically they're a little bit older than they were before, or there may be some type of depletion. So things like a mine or something, you'd actually use up your resources. So that's the first definition of it. And what we need to do then in a set of accounts for any business is to actually recognize that cost because it's quite a major cost for most companies. So what we'll do in this clip is actually go through, do a quick example and try and explain how depreciation is calculated. So let's go on to this next slide. So as you can see, there's basically two different methods of doing depreciation. The first one here, we call that straight line. And then the second method, we're calling that reducing balance. And what we see here with straight line is it's an equal depreciation each year. So it's a fixed amount each year, and then eventually, after a number of years, the asset is completely written down and we have no value in the accounts. This one here is a little bit different. Although we have a fixed amount taken off each year, because we're calculating it on a reducing balance, the actual depreciation each year is a little bit smaller, but the rate of depreciation is the same. So in this case here, we've got a 25% rate of depreciation. So let's do a little example here. A piece of equipment was bought for $10,000 and we think it may last for 5 years. So how do we depreciate that, or how do we calculate it? So it's $10,000. Has a life of 5 years, so we're going to take about $2,000 a year in depreciation. Okay, if we had, for example, a piece of equipment where we thought it was worth perhaps $2,000 at the end of its life, we would basically take off that figure from the cost and do the calculation in the same way, but after we've deducted this $2,000. So let's have a go at that. So we've got the $10,000 to start with. Then we reduce it by $2,000. And that is what we call the final or net realizable value at the end. And then we still have 5 years, so we divide by 5. And in that case, we've got a value of $1,600. That is the depreciation charge each year on a straight line basis. Now, we'll do the reducing balance calculation now, just to show you the difference. Now, we have a computer system, and that is costing $5,000. And we actually reduce it or depreciate it at 25% a year. So how do we do this calculation? Well, you can see the original cost, and then we take 25% of that, which is 1,250. And now we have value of 3,750, and then the next year we take 25% of that, and that gives us a value now of 2,812, and then we have another depreciation charge of 703, and that gives us a final value of 2,109. Now, Alex, how did I calculate this 703, do you think?
You took 25% of 2,812?
Yeah, okay, so that's exactly how I did it. Excellent. So that was multiplied by 25%, and that's equal to the 703. Okay, fantastic. So we'll do another example. Yeah, you have a question?
Yeah, how do we know which method of depreciation to use?
Okay, good question. So let's try and explain that. We'll do this here a second. Now, what we have with straight line is it is actually a straight line. So what we do, this is effectively how straight line would actually work. So we start off at 10,000, for example, and it does literally go down in a straight line. So that would be the method we use if the value is reducing at a regular amount each year. And then eventually, after 5 years, we have a value of 0. Now, if we have some equipment that's reducing very fast in the early years, we do the reducing balance method, and that goes down sort of like that. So that's the original cost. And then it doesn't really actually fully depreciate ever. It goes on sort of forever effectively here. So that's the difference. We choose the method according to how much the asset is depreciating each year. So let's have another go at this. We'll try and do another example. Right, would you like to have a go at this one, Alex? We've got a little example of both situations.
Sure. So I'd take 100,000 and I would divide it by 20, which equals 5,000 per year. And for this one, take 10,000 and multiply it by 20%. And we're left with 2,000.
Right, okay, so thank you very much, Alex. So you have 5,000 and 2,000, depending on which method we're using. Let's have a look at the answer and see what's happening here. So 100,000 was the cost of the asset, the cost of the lease. And we're saying it takes 20 years, or the lease is 20 years. So that's a cost or a depreciation of 5,000 each year. So that's great. And then we've got a different piece of equipment, and we're using the other method, this reducing balance method. And we're saying we use that at 20%. So 20% of the cost, which is 10,000, that's $2,000. And then the next year, we would do 20% of the balance that's left over. So the balance now is 10,000 less 2,000, so that's 8. And therefore, in the second year, we've got a depreciation of 1,600. So, well, that's great. Thank you very much, Alex. You've got both of them right. Interesting point here. We can see the way that depreciation is reducing each year. So it's effectively going down sort of like this, isn't it? That's the reducing balance method.